Good morning, students. Today I'll be covering report writing for AEC English. So the very first question that comes when we talk about report writing is, what is a report? So report is a major form of technical, business and professional communication. It is widely used like letters and memos. All professionals such as administrators, scientists, managers and engineers need to write reports for different purposes. A scientist writes a report to provide scientific data. An administrator writes a report to inform the superiors about work progress. A manager writes a report to evaluate certain situations, and an engineer writes a report to provide information about the development of undertaken projects. It is written for a specific purpose and specific audience. A minimum of 2 persons are involved in the process, one who seeks information and the other who gathers as well as conveys the required information. Reports play a major role not only in a particular domain, but the requirement is realized in all fields. A manager relies on the reports sent by his or her subordinates because he or she cannot be present at every place. A sales manager depends on the reports from the branch offices and sales executives. The government also forms various committees on different issues, and the committees submit their reports to the government. Reports can be presented in 2 ways. One is oral report and the second is a written report. When a report is presented orally and face to face in person to the concerned team or body or representative, it is called an oral report. And when a report is presented by means of writing and addressed in a formal way to an organization or an official, it is known as a written report. It can also be called a formal report. Now the characteristics are as follows. Formal reports are always written for some official purpose. It is a piece of factual writing based on evidence. It contains organized information. It has a uniform structure and presentation. It is prepared in a prescribed format in accordance with established procedures. So one may question that why do we need to write a formal report? So what are the objectives of a formal report? So the objectives are to give information about the activities, progress, plans and problems of an individual, a department or an organization, to record research findings and or technical specifications, to present the record of accomplished work, to tell the facts of an event for future reference, to provide the information to a large number of people, to present organized information on a particular topic, to recommend the actions that can be considered to resolve certain problems, to monitor business operations, to bring about new policies and procedures, to facilitate decision making and to justify a controversial decision. Now let's move on to the components of a formal report, that is, how should one write a report. So in any report, these are the things that one should particularly be careful about and include in a report. The first component is report writer's organization and its address, then reference number. Usually in offices, the offices will always provide a reference number when a report is sent to an organization. And of course, the date of sending the report, then the recipient's name, job title, and his or her organization's name with complete address. Then comes the subject line, and then comes the salutation. What is salutation? Now, when you address the person like respected sir or dear sir or madam, and then comes the main text, which is the body of the text, where you will elaborate the entire report, and then comes the complimentary close, and then you end it with signature along with the name and job title whoever is the report writer, that person's signature, name and job title needs to go there. And then at the end, these two things are optional. If they, along with the report, there are enclosures, then there has to be enclosures notation and copy notation if that report is copied to any other professional. So next I will be elaborating with an example. So the example goes like this, that suppose you are the convener of the NSS committee of your university. You have received a letter to submit a report on the activities carried out by the committee during the previous semester. So draft the report with the necessary details. So first of all, like I said, the writer's organization and its address must be mentioned. So first of all, it has to be NSS Committee, University of North Bengal, Raja Ram Mohanpur, Siliguri, and the address, whatever the address is. Then comes the reference number and the date. The date has to be on the right hand side and the reference number has to be on the left hand side. Then comes the recipient's name. So, and as well as the job title and the organization's name with the complete address. So, whom are we referring to here in the example? That is the Honorable Chancellor. So, Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of North Bengal, Raja Ram Mohanpur, Siliguri. And then comes the subject line. So, report on the activities carried out by the NSS unit. And then the salutation. Salutation is here, dear sir. And then the body goes like this, that the NSS unit of the University of North Bengal carried out the following activities during the event semester of the academic year 2022-23. So, first is free health checkup and the details are given there. Then comes the blood donation camp, and then the third one is cleanliness drive, and the fourth is adoption of thalassaemic patients. So, the details of the report, the findings of the report writer is all enumerated in this particular report. And then comes the closing compliments, that is yours faithfully, it can be yours sincerely also. And then finally the signature and the report writer's name, job and title. So, who was supposed to write that? That is the convener of NSS unit. So, the name is an imaginary one, Shopna Mitra, and a convener NSS committee, and along with that, like I said, enclosures and copy notation, they are optional. So, here I haven't mentioned that. So, but if one has to mention, it just needs to be mentioned that enclosed to enclose these documents and copy to these people. So, if you see that the details of the letter goes like this, that it's always about the evidence and the facts that is there already, and the report writer has to summarize everything. So, that is how you see in the body, what we see is that free health checkup. So, the unit in association with North Bengal Medical College and Hospital organized a health checkup camp on 14th March 2023 in the university campus for the students, teachers, staff members and local residents. 517 persons were examined at the camp and it benefited all the visitors. The second was blood donation camp. So, the unit in association with Lions Club Siliguri organized a blood donation camp in the NSS unit of the university on 27th April 2023. Many student volunteers came up to donate blood. A total of 170 units of blood were donated by the students and staff members. Cleanliness drive. The unit launched a cleanliness drive from 15th May to 18th May 2023. The NSS volunteers cleaned the campus as well as made students aware of the importance of cleanliness. Posters were put up at various places in the college campus and nearby areas to highlight the need for hygiene and sanitation and adoption of thalassaemic patients. In order to reduce the burden of blood banks, the unit adopted 10 thalassaemic patients. Members decided to donate blood to meet the transfusion requirements of the patients. So, see how these reports, they are so formal in the tone, how you will see that there is no extra information put there. It has to be precise, it has to be brief, Alright, so by looking at these kinds of reports, there can be 4 kinds of reports. Now what are they? One is memo report, the second is informational report, the third is analytical report, and the fourth being feasibility report. Now what is a memo report? Usually when we write memos, here it's a letter memo. A letter memo is when we address a certain person. So their salutation is included here. In a memo, the salutation is omitted because it is a short form of a memo, and it comes as a pre-recorded or a pre-printed form where the person has to just fill the memo. So the word memo is short for memorandum. Mainly a memo is a brief note, written statement, record, or word of communication that is used for internal communication. The format of the memo is generally decided by the institution or organization, and it needs to be filled by the employers as and when required. It does not use the letter format as seen in the example in the last slide. Informational report. An informational report presents data, facts, problems, conditions, or situations without any kind of analysis or interpretation, like the one I just read out. It doesn't contain a conclusion or recommendation. The report writer only collects, compiles, and organizes facts for the reader. It generally pertains to the report of meeting held, an event, or situation. What is analytical report? An analytical report presents the data with analysis and interpretation. The writer objectively investigates and analyzes the situations, conditions, or problems and puts the conclusion and recommendation into that report. The investigator first identifies the problems, collects data, analyzes it, tries to find reasons, draws conclusions, and incorporates suggestions or recommendations towards its solutions. If a report presents only facts pertinent to a situation or issue, it is an informational report, but if the writer analyzes the facts and draws conclusions, it is described as an analytical report. So it is also known as interpretive or investigative report. Project report and research reports are some of the examples of analytical report. What is feasibility report? A feasibility report is the outcome of detailed examination of a proposed project. The report details out whether or not a project should be undertaken and includes the reasons for the decision. A study is carried out before the project is approved or disapproved. The study identifies the constraints as well as the potential risk and defines the mitigating solutions. The constraints can be social, environmental, financial, technical, or legal. The study analyzes the potential market, investment requirements, competition, profitability, and marketing strategies in the long and short term. So a report may come in any form, and you might be asked questions on any of these 3, like informational, analytical, or feasible report in your examination. So while writing the report, what are the points that you should remember? And I'm summing up. The subject matter should be presented in a logical way. The facts should be complete, reliable, and properly arranged. The writer should not infuse his or her biased opinion in the report. The conclusion should be based on the facts. The suggestions should be impartial. The report should be brief but should not compromise with its completeness. And the language should be direct, simple, and grammatically correct. Ornamental language and figures of speech should be avoided. And if you can do this properly, then the report is done. Thank you so much.